meditation for everything, the framing for it all, is listen to receive. You don't have to understand anything. It doesn't have to make sense. Kind of embracing that, like, I don't know mind, and listening to receive, and listening so it can just kind of integrate with your being, but not just your mind. Again, it doesn't have to make sense. I think of my little sweet 1-year-old, like, not what makes sense to him, probably not much, and it's okay. He's okay with that, right? He's integrating with reality and the universe in a really different way than I think I've become conditioned to. So yeah, listening to receive. All right. So let's go ahead and get started with this meditation. Again, I think it'll be 15 or 20 minutes. I'll start with a grounding and then go into a guided imagery. And I'll give a little bit more framing if it's your first ever guided imagery. But let's start by just getting physically comfortable. So if you want to be seated, that's great. You could also lie down for this if that's more comfortable for you. There's no requirement to be on camera. So if you wanted to, if you're feeling called to change your position, and you can turn off your camera and do whatever. But go ahead and just settle into whatever physical position you'd like to be in for that next period of time. And just take a minute to transition the attention from outwards to inwards. So for me, it often helps to either close my eyes or cast my gaze downwards. You can do just a little kind of scan of the body and your environment, just noticing what's here now without judgment, but just taking note of all the things that you notice in this moment. And then taking 3 of the deepest and longest breaths you've taken all day so far. One of the things that really supports me in getting out of my head can be getting more in touch with my body. So how I invite us to ground together before our guided imagery is through a practice of humming. Humming is a really powerful tool. And the invitation is simple. We're going to take some breaths in, and on the exhale, I'm going to ask you to hum. It can be supportive to have a lower tone that might be a little bit more soothing. But other than that, there's no guidelines. This can be a long hum. It can be a short hum that's kind of more of a sigh. It's there's no roadmap here, but I would love for each of us to take 5 long breaths, and on the exhale, just humming. And you can follow along with me, or you can literally mute me or tune me out and really just follow your own humming, but I will do it if anyone does want to follow along. So breathing in. Hmm. Hmm. And then just noticing, how does the body feel? So now I'm going to guide you through a visualization. You can keep your eyes closed. You can stay as you are. And just know there's no wrong experience to have with this. This is a chance to let your imagination run. I'll provide prompts, but really just let the imagination do what it does. You don't need to try to control anything. Notice if there's self-talk trying to judge your experience or control it or comment on it. This is an opportunity to just kind of have free form um, visualizing as I invite you to picture some things. So I'd like you to begin by visualizing that you're in some sort of a forest. It can be whatever type of habitat you want. And you're alone and you're walking down a trail. And this is a place where you feel safe. You're not spooked at all. You feel totally at ease and totally at home. And if a forest isn't the right landscape for you, that's okay. You can choose a different one. So there you are. You're walking through the forest. And as you do that, just start to notice all the details, the colors, the textures, the sounds. Notice the canopy overhead if there's birds maybe flying around. You're just walking along this trail at ease, taking in the scenery. And you notice that you've been looking up for a while. So now visualize yourself consciously looking down at your feet as you walk, connecting with the earth with each step. As we walk, we imprint our gratitude on the earth, as Thich Nhat Hanh says. So you're doing that in this visualization. You're looking down, you're walking, you're connecting with the earth below you with each step. And then as you're walking and looking down, you notice a little mushroom. It catches your eye, and you decide to pause and get down on your hands and your knees, and you really start to examine the soil, the leaves. Maybe there's some moss or lichen down there. Maybe you can imagine the smell of that fresh forest earth. And then, yes, there's this mushroom, the reason that you stopped. And at first glance, it seems like the mushroom is just all it is, just a complete little beautiful organism by itself in the soil. But then in your mind's eye, imagine that your perception begins to shift. So you begin to be able to see underneath the soil, below the mushroom, and actually into the forest floor. You're able to see through the earth. And slowly, a glowing web comes into your vision. It begins at the mushroom's base and it extends outwards. And as you raise your gaze, you see that this web is intertwined with the roots of the trees and the plants as far as you can see, expanding for miles, and it's pulsing. It looks like it's alive. And as you look back up at the trees above you, you see that these apparently separate trees and bushes are connected and communicating with each other in every moment. We've just been unaware. We haven't been able to see it. They are interconnected and in constant dialogue. And this mushroom, again, it's arising out of this web. So you realize this mushroom isn't just a single organism. It's arising out of this huge network, this webbing. It's one unique fruit arising out of the whole. And so are we. And now, in this visualization, I want you to turn your attention to your body mind. Visualize the body mind that you inhabit. Visualize the edges, the shape, and any details that come to mind, your physical form. Just visualizing that. And then imagine that for just a moment, you're no longer in space, no longer in that forest. But visualize this body mind that you inhabit just kind of floating in space, not touching anyone or anything, alone. And how does that feel? There's no right answer here. Just noticing as you visualize your body mind floating in space, separate, not connected to anyone or anything. How does that feel? This is often, in my experience, how we perceive ourselves as these individual unconnected entities. Now, I invite you to visualize the same glowing and vibrating webs of light Now extending from this body mind, so this your body mind floating in space. Now there's these webs, alive, pulsing and glowing, that start to extend outwards, reaching towards the next being. Who or what do these webs touch first? Just see what the mind does. And feel this connection as these webs touch this other being. Allow them to land and integrate. Notice and receive. And then in your mind's eye, keep going. Visualize this web connecting to more beings, to more body minds, present, past, and future. So connecting to ancestors, connecting to the unborn, to the saints and the villains indiscriminately, to all forms of life. So visualizing an unending, ever-expanding, and completely intertwined, pulsing, vibrating network. Receive whatever there is to receive in this moment. Doesn't have to make sense. And then lastly, I invite you to visualize the image of your body mind dissolving slowly, but completely into this web. Nothing is lost, it's just absorbed into this network, into the whole. And then I invite you to take another deep, long breath in, and on the exhale, letting all those images go. We'll close this out how we started with humming. So again, I invite you to, in your own time, in your own way, hum on the exhale 5 times. And again, you can mute me if you want to just feel into your own sound, or you can do it along with me. But invitation is to hum and let the vibrations have no limit. Allow them to expand throughout your whole body. And just receive the sound. So 5 breaths, 5 hums, however you want to do it. Mm. And I'm listening to receive anything there's here to receive. And in your own time, no rush, you can gently blink the eyes open, come back to the group. All right. Hello. Some folks joined us midstream. Welcome to those who did. I'm glad you're here with us. So I'm gonna just go into kind of like Q&A, group discussion, sharing. But before then, I just invite people, if it's possible, if you have like a pen or a journal near, to just take a minute, maybe 2 minutes, to write down anything you want to write down from that experience. It's not a requirement, but one of the things I like about guided imageries is sometimes insights can drop in. And I've always valued those insights because they come from kind of a different place than the insights of like my mind. So I can like noodle and noodle and noodle in my mind and get clarity on something, but that feels so different than when something is just like drops in. So if that happened for you, wonderful. If it didn't, that's totally fine. But I'll be quiet for a minute or so and just let people journal.